your 360 lifestyle app area is like pretty hot competition. So
Yeah.
what are you guys doing to differentiate yourself
Yeah.
in terms of like branding and marketing and
Absolutely. Yeah.
strategy as
So
well?
I think that comes from how do you define a competition? So competition is a struggle or a competition to get market share, right? So if there are 100 eligible customers for your product or service, and you have 50 of them and I have 50 of them, you are my competition because you have 50 of them and I want those.
Yeah.
That's competition. The segment that we're talking about, or that urban company, just like Amazon Web Services, etc., home services, sorry, are into. See, this market is largely still unorganized.
Okay.
So, talking about Dubai, Dubai has around 400,000 households who require home services on almost monthly basis, right? And that's around 1 million services in a month, right? Now, in a month, these organized platforms, us including, do like 100,000 services in a month.
Okay.
All of these including.
Yeah.
So you're still left with that 900,000, right? So these organized players are just 10% of the market. 90% of the market is completely unorganized. So when we talk about competition, a real competition is not these apps, but the unorganized mom and pop shop, individual home services providers,
Okay.
cutting corners in terms of regulations, etc., and offering services. So that's the real competition, and not these applications or organized players. That actually, to some extent, benefits companies, and that's true even for home service, for food tech, for example. Although that's a bit different because that segment is largely organized.
Okay.
Food at home, food delivery, for example, Kareem, Talabat, etc.
That's a red ocean, right?
Yeah, that's also highly competitive space, but
Yes.
all of that is organized. So in terms of competition, those apps are real competitions, but here that's not the case. The competition is the 90% of the market, which is completely offline,
Okay.
right? Coming to the question on what are we really doing to uh, tackle that, I think so because it's unorganized and it's not tech enabled, right? The reliability and quality of service that they are able to provide is way below what a tech enabled, highly organized platform is able to give, right? But the challenge there becomes is, see, quality can never be why people buy a product. That can be a reason why people repeat you, why people like buy you again and again,
Yeah.
but that cannot convince people to take a service from you from the start. Now, it's up to us to figure out and spin it off in a way that you at least try your services and then you realize the quality of service and then you keep taking that again. So yeah, that's how we deal with competition right now.
And as you mentioned, right, because it's unorganized, you have other players probably that do not look at it from a different lens as you would as being a tech company. Because I'm sure you would have many metrics that you actually measure to see the customer satisfaction, maybe through NPS scores or to see customer retention, why a particular customer is churning out and whatnot.
Yeah.
So how do you make these data-driven decisions? Because that's how I feel you would differ in terms of not only providing great quality, but also to retain customers than probably
Absolutely, yeah.
the unorganized sector.
Yeah. So talking in terms of metrics that we look at, or any tech company looks at, any tech startup, especially in the B2C space, see, there are mainly two things. That's it. There's one is how happy is your customer,
Yeah.
which is of course measured through customer NPS and other surveys, etc. Second is market capitalization or market penetration, you can call it, right? Depending on the market. Which basically means if there are 100 eligible users who consume your services or products in some form or the other, how many of those consume services from you?
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, on a monthly basis, in Dubai alone, there are around 1 million home services consumed across 400,000 unique households. And how much of that is coming to us, right? That is the number, that's the key number to track, because that really tells you what your strategy should be. Should you acquire more people? Should you work on bettering your retention, right? Should you change your strategy because you're not scaling fast enough and things like that? So yeah, so the number one thing is market penetration. How many users are taking services from you versus the others. Second is the quality, which is measured through customer NPS surveys, which is after every service, after every consumption. And see why the customer service metric is so important, especially for tech-enabled B2C startups, is because the fundamental rule that these tech startups work with is, see, initial few years, you burn a bunch of money to build your brand and marketing and develop your product enough that people love the services. So with time, you acquire this 5% market penetration.
Yeah.
You give them an amazing service. Customers love your services. At the same time, you're pouring money into marketing, brand building, and campaigns
Yes.
and product development. And then there's a critical point where you take off this money from marketing, brand building, product development, and it sort of becomes a flywheel. The customers who are happy so far continue. They keep talking, like through word of mouth, they keep spreading awareness, and your market still continues to grow. But now you're not pouring in that money that you had to, because you have built enough brand awareness and enough customers are really, really happy about your service. That's the fundamental way any tech startup operates.
The momentum is there.
Yeah, right. And that's why customer happiness and experience becomes very, very important for all of these companies. So yeah, in terms of metric, it's the customer experience, and it's how much of the customers do you have versus other players have.
So just in terms of acquiring new customers, what are, especially when coming to Dubai, what are like sort of the marketing strategies that you've tried and tested, and what would you suggest to aspiring startups, regardless of industry, that they should try?
Absolutely. I think what I've seen work across markets, especially in Dubai, is mainly digital, of course. Within digital, depending on who your audience is, depending on the age group, etc. There were a few things that we figured out later on, but we have gotten on that. So as I said earlier, Dubai has a mix of market, right? There are Arabs, there are Europeans, and there are others. So you really have to decide who your customer is first, and not just your messaging, even your platform will vary. For example, what we have seen is for Arabs, Instagram and Snapchat works way better.
Snapchat, really?
Snapchat
Oh,
for
right.
Arabs,
I thought it would be TikTok.
No, really, yeah. Snapchat's has a
Snapchat
huge
is
local
big.
demographic.
Oh,
Absolutely, yeah. TikTok, why it doesn't work for us, especially or markets like us, is see, TikTok is the age group of 15 to 25.
yes.
That's not really where they're sitting. Arabs, especially like 25 and beyond, are more on the Snapchat side of things, right? But if it's Asian, then Snapchat doesn't work.
Yeah.
For South Asians, it's Facebook.
Yes.
It is Instagram, right? So it really varies who your customer is. So you have to double down into the messaging as well as the platform. But mainly what we have seen work is digital across, TikTok for certain segments, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah. So something I see wrong, and this is like really echoed in what you're saying, is a lot of small businesses plow all this money into their entire ecosystem before really learning about who their demographic is. And like you said, as soon as you learn about who your demographic is, the platform's going to change, the marketing's going to change, your messaging's going to change. Every single part of that user journey changes.
Yeah.
And then guess what? You got to dump all that money straight in to get it fixed again.
Absolutely, yeah. I understand that because I've seen companies and myself also do that in the past, where we have dumped a lot of money into one size fits all kind of marketing, and it doesn't really work. Then you understand your customers better, your user segments better, and then you re-strategize and pour in the money once again,